Hi guys, my name is Rachel and today I'm here to talk about the series that I would like to reread. So recently I did a series that I need to finish video, and in that video I talked about some books I would like to reread before finishing the series. I'm not going to talk about those same books, so this video is all about series that I have completed and I would just like to go back and revisit sometime. These are all series, so I might do a separate video on standalones I want to reread because there are plenty of those as well. I'm not the best at rereading series just because I actually kind of feel guilty when I reread a series because I have so many unread books that I need to start in the first place, but there's something so special about just revisiting your favourite characters, your favourite worlds, your favourite writing, your favourite authors. I would definitely like to reread some of these books at some stage. Maybe in the second half of the year I'll go back and revisit some of these books, but we shall see. So without further ado, let's get straight into the series that I would like to reread. The first series I would like to reread is the Mistborn Trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. This is an epic fantasy trilogy. It's absolutely fantastic. This was the first Brandon Sanderson book I read. I've still only read this trilogy and I've read Elantris, which is his first book. I'm not gonna lie, I really did not like Elantris, so I'm glad I read this series first, because if I had started on Elantris I might have not read any other Brandon Sanderson books because I really did not like that one, but that's a story for another video. I thought this trilogy was fantastic. I read it a couple of years ago. I just binged the trilogy. I think I might have read it too fast because actually a lot of the details are missing and I feel like I kind of have combined the three books into one in my head. I don't know. I just need to get back to this and do a bit of a reread before I start other Brandon Sanderson books. I do really want to start the Stormlight Archive. That's definitely on my radar. I have the entire series so far except for Rhythm of War, so it's definitely something I want to get to, but I just would really like to return to this trilogy as well. I just really enjoyed it. I thought the characters were amazing. I really liked Vin as a main character. She's such a badass, but there were also parts of her personality that I could actually relate to on some levels. Also, one thing that I absolutely love about this trilogy is the magic system. It's so unique. So basically allomancers are able to like burn and use like different metals, and each metal has a different like ability. It's just such a clever idea. I've never seen anything like that in any other fantasy series, so I love how unique that magic system is. It's just so genius. Honestly, Brandon Sanderson, well done on that magic system. It was just so much fun, amazing characters, incredible writing, and such amazing magic system. Highly recommend this trilogy. The next series I would like to reread is the Lord of the Rings trilogy by... Oh, you said Brandon Sanderson for some reason. The next series I would like to reread is the Lord of the Rings series by J.R.R. Tolkien. I know The Hobbit is here too, which I suppose The Hobbit is technically a standalone, but I consider it all just one series. This is just a beautiful box that I got in Chapters bookstore years ago, like oh my god, probably like a billion years ago. Honestly, probably like 10 or 12 years ago for like €15. I got the entire series for €15 in this gorgeous box. It was amazing. I cannot wait to go back to Chapters when it's open again. Amazing bookstore. Anyway, so Lord of the Rings, obviously one of the most well-known series of all time. Absolutely fantastic series. I feel like a lot of people sit on this series, they watch the movies and they don't actually read the books, which is really sad to me because the books are fantastic. Don't get me wrong, the movies are also incredible, like probably the best book to movie adaptations ever. Like I absolutely adore the movies. I pretty much know them off by heart. Love them so much. Samwise Gamgee, I'm telling you, he is the man of my dreams. I worship Samwise. Oh my god, I love him so much. That's both in the books and the movies. He's just incredible. Love Samwise. Anyway, so I really wish Lord of the Rings was talked about more on BookTube. As it's such a very popular series in general, nobody actually talks about it on BookTube, minus like Daniel Green. It's just amazing. I feel like people need to read this series. Yes, the movies are incredible, but the movies don't have everything. Like there are still scenes in this series that aren't in the movies, and you just have to read them because it's incredible. I feel like a big reason people don't read this series is because the writing is a little bit different. It's a little bit slow, I suppose. It is a slow burn, I'm not gonna lie. It's not a fast-paced series. It can be overly descriptive at times. That was just the way Tolkien wrote, but it's so worth it. Oh my god, it's incredible, amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorite series of all time, and I definitely would like to do a bit of a reread soon. Also, if you're not into reading the physical books, as they are a bit of a slow burn, there are some really great audiobooks on YouTube. You don't have to pay a cent, obviously. They're on YouTube and they have loads loads of like different sound effects and stuff, so you can always listen to the audiobooks because even they're amazing. Highly recommend this series, and I definitely would like to reread it at some stage. Love it so much. It has such a huge impact on my life, and I would love to get a Lord of the Rings tattoo very soon. I've been wanting to get one for years and I just have not settled on what exactly I want, so I'm thinking about it. I'm always thinking about it, but I definitely want to get a Lord of the Rings tattoo. This series is fantastic, absolutely amazing. I honestly can't wait to reread this at some stage and get back to this world because it's just freaking incredible. The next series I would like to reread isn't actually a complete series yet, but I still would like to reread the books that are out so far, and that is the Lies of Lamora by Scott Lynch. This is actually a series I only read last year. Oh my god, it's been sitting on my shelf for so long, and I finally picked it up last year, and I mean I was obsessed. Like, this series is amazing. I wasn't expecting it to be the way it was. I absolutely freaking loved it. This basically follows our main character Locke Lamora, and he is like in a gang of thieves. There are just so many twists and turns. Like, even though Locke is the main character, you as a reader just don't know what he's thinking half the time. Like, the twists and... No, my light. So my light just died, so if the lights changed, I'm sorry. I was thinking about just ending the video and scrapping it, but honestly I had to do that last week for a different reason, and this was my own fault for not charging the light. I'm just gonna continue filming anyway. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, so I was talking about Lies of Lamora. The series is fantastic. I feel like no one really talks about it on BookTube. It's so good. The amount of twists and turns in this book is incredible. Like, I'm always so surprised. I was a little bit disappointed with the third book, The Republic of Thieves. I thought it was definitely a letdown after the first and second book, because the first and second book are absolutely top notch, but I'm still very much excited for the fourth book whenever that's coming out. Honestly cannot wait, because this series is one of my favorite series now. These characters just mean so much to me. At the same time, I don't want to be too attached because I know that not all these characters are safe. I know it's very easy for Scott Lynch to kill off characters. That's all I'll say. So before the fourth book comes out, I would like to do a reread of the first three books. I know the twists and turns, of course, for the second time, but I still think I'd enjoy the second time reading them. It was actually so much fun last year. My friend Anthony and I were doing like a race. We were both reading this series at the same time. I won, of course. I mean, shocker. It was just so much fun. We both really enjoyed the series. There was so much for us to talk about regarding this series. Such a good series. More people need to talk about this on BookTube. I highly recommend, and I definitely would like to get back to this eventually. The next two series I would like to reread is the Saga of Darren Shan, or the Cirque de Freak series, and the Demonada series by Darren Shan. These series are like my childhood series, particularly this one. Oh my god, I love Darren Shan. He's always been one of my favourite authors, and while I haven't read any of his books in a few years, he's still always going to be one of my favourite authors. This series in particular just has literally changed me as a person. Like, this series means everything to me. This is a 12-book series and this is a 10-book series, but the books are really quite short, so they don't take too long to read. Darren Shan is honestly such a good writer. These are like children's horror books, but honestly I'm nearly 26 and I could still read them now and love them. They're just incredible. I've actually only read the Demonada series once and I don't really remember it too well because it's just been so long, so that's why I'd like to reread this series just to kind of refresh my memory, and I think it would be a lot of fun reading it again. But this series in particular, oh my god, Larton Crepsley in this series is one of my all-time favourite fictional characters. This follows our main character Darren Shan, and yes, the author did put his own name in the book, but it actually makes sense when you read the entire series, so we'll let him away with it this time. Basically, he goes to like a freak show with his friend Steve, and Steve steals one of the spiders from this freak show and he ends up getting bitten, and basically Darren Shan makes a deal with a vampire called Larton Crepsley. I love him so much, and he basically turns into a half vampire in exchange to save his best friend Steve. So good. It's a 12-book series. It's amazing. Every single book is brilliant. You could honestly read this entire series very quickly. I wanted to get back to this series for a while. Like, it's actually sitting at the top shelf of this case here. It just means so much to me. Darren Shan takes up almost an entire shelf, and that's perfectly fine with me. It's such a good series, you guys. There's just so much in it. Like, there's such amazing friendship and family bonds in this series. It's just so good. The writing is so gripping and engaging. Like, you could honestly start the first page and just binge the entire series in one day, honestly. Like, it's just so hard to put down. Highly recommend. I feel like Darren Shan just does not get talked about on BookTube, which is really annoying because his books are freaking awesome. So please read these series. They're so good, and I definitely want to get back to this one sooner rather than later. Another series I would like to reread is no surprise at all, so so I won't talk about it for too long, but that is Skullduggery Pleasant by Derek Landy. I've talked about this series quite a lot on my channel because it's one of my favourite series of all time. It's incredible. This follows Valkyrie Kane, who is a young girl and realises she has powers, and she meets Skullduggery Pleasant, who is a skeleton detective, and together they form this amazing friendship and go on all these fantastic adventures. It's hilarious, it's brilliant, it's genius, the amount of twists and turns in this series. Book 14, Dead or Alive, just came out recently and I'm very nearly finished. I'm on page 500 out of 600 and I'm loving it. Like, it's amazing, and I'm really sad because Dead or Alive is the second last book in this series. So once book 15 comes out next year, this series will be over and I'll be heartbroken, but I definitely plan to reread this entire series after book 15 comes out. I would honestly love to do a review video on all 15, but we'll see what happens next year. But I'm just so sad this series is going to be over and my heart will be broken. It's been in my life for like over 10 years. I'm just going to be so sad when it's over. I can't even put into words how much this series means to me. If I'm ever in a bad mood, just picking up one of these books just has me laughing out loud. Like, Derek Landy is the funniest person and funniest writer ever. I've actually met him 3 times in person and he's just so funny even in person. He's amazing, such a genius, and I really want to get back to this series when book 15 is out and I can just have a big huge Skullduggery Pleasant reread binge. The next series I would like to reread is the Shadow and Bone Trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. So this is a gorgeous box set that I just got recently. I already have the original covers, of course. I've read this series years ago, but I just really loved this box. I thought it was gorgeous, so I'll just take them out of the box. They're such beautiful covers. Oh my god, I can't get enough. I mean, I do like the original cover, but this one is just so much prettier, and it has the shimmer on the spines. It's just beautiful. Basically, this series is a fantasy YA trilogy. It follows our main character Alina, and she basically finds out she has powers, and there's a bit of a love triangle between her and her best friend Mal, and the villain in the story, the Darkling. The Darkling is like a horrible person, but everyone who reads this series just fancies him so much. Like, he's just, I don't know what it is. I personally don't really fancy him. I don't know. I don't really like Mal either though. I wasn't feeling either of the love interests in this series, but anyway. This series is actually going to be a Netflix TV show. The trailer just dropped recently and I haven't watched it yet because I don't think I want to watch it. I kind of just want to go in and just see what it's like and just not see any part of the trailer. I had planned to reread this series before the Netflix TV show comes out, but I don't think that's going to happen. I honestly don't think I have the time. I'm really hoping Netflix does a good job because this is such a good series and I really don't want them to mess it up. Even though I probably won't reread this series in time for the Netflix TV show, I definitely would like to reread it at some stage just because it's been so long and there are a few details missing in my head, and I just think it would be a bit of fun to go back to this trilogy. So hopefully I will get to do that quite soon. The next series I would like to reread is the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. I've talked about Cassandra Clare so much on my channel. She's one of my favourite authors of all time, and this is actually her very first book. God, it's been so long since I read this series. Like, look how banjaxed this book is. Like, even the spine is broken and everything. Like, this book has been through some shit. And then I got the whole series in this cover. I just thought it was gorgeous. So now I have these 2 covers, and then I also have this. Wait till you see this, guys. Oh my god. This is the 10th anniversary edition of City of Bones, and it's gorgeous. I love it so much. It says all the stories are true, and it's just absolutely one of the most beautiful books on my shelves. We got Clary on the front. She's so cool. And we got a few. Oh, we got Simon and Isabel too. They're just gorgeous. I love this book. Oh my god, I didn't even see these. So gorgeous. We got, oh my god, there's my band Jace. Oh, and Magnus Bane. Magnus Bane is my favorite character in the entire Shadowhunter Chronicles by Cassandra Clare. I just love him. We got Clary again. We got Alec. I love Alec. It's just absolutely a stunning book. So I have 3 copies of City of Bones, but obviously this one's my favorite. I just think it would be really nice to revisit her first series. Like, out of all of Cassandra Clare's series, I think The Mortal Instruments is probably my least favorite, but that being said, I still absolutely love it. Like, it's where she started it all. It's where these characters have come to life, and the Shadowhunter world, it just means so much to me. It would just be really nice revisiting this series again. I don't think it'll happen anytime soon, but hopefully at some stage I can. These characters mean so much to me. Her writing is incredible. This world means everything to me. So I definitely want to reread this series again at some stage. So speaking of Cassandra Clare, I would also like to reread The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. This is the prequel to The Mortal Instruments, but she did write it after. Honestly, I still think this is actually my favorite of Cassandra Clare's series. The Infernal Devices is freaking fantastic. Oh my god. We follow our main character Tessa, Tessa, and she meets Will Herondale and James Carstairs, and there's a love triangle. While love triangles are quite repetitive in a lot of series, Cassandra Clare writes the best love triangle I have ever seen. I feel like in most books that have a love triangle, I feel like there's always one obvious choice, like you know who the character is going to end up with, but in this series that's not the case. You love both Will Herondale and Jem Carstairs, and you honestly don't know who Tessa is going to end up with, and I really loved that because I loved them both. Obviously Will is my absolute favourite, like he means everything to me. He's like my book boyfriend forever. Look at him, he's freaking gorgeous. I love him. I actually got this book from my friend Ian for my birthday years ago. I don't even remember what year it was, I don't remember what birthday it was, but I just remember him giving me this book, and I hadn't actually heard of Cassandra Clare at this point, so this was actually my first read by Cassandra Clare, even though City of Bones is her first book and I technically should have started there, but it doesn't matter because this is obviously a different series in a way. Oh my god, I absolutely loved it. I didn't really know anything about it going into it, and I ended up freaking obsessed. Like, I'm still obsessed with this book a decade later or whatever. And I actually met Cassandra Clare in 2016, so she signed this book. I have a few of her books that are signed, and I had to get her to sign this one because this was my first book by her. I'm so glad Ian got me this book because it was just the start of my journey into the Shadowhunter Chronicles, and now Cassandra Clare is one of my favourite authors, and this series is amazing. All of her series are amazing. All of her series are like interconnected, which is so incredible. The way she does it is just genius. So I would definitely love to reread the Infernal Devices again, just because it is my favourite of Cassandra Clare's series, and I do really miss my book boyfriend Will Herondale, so I definitely want to get back to him. So definitely would like to reread this very soon if I can. The next series I would like to reread is To All the Boys I Loved Before Trilogy by Jenny Han. This is such a well-known series at the moment, mainly because of the Netflix movie adaptations, which are really fun by the way. I always get really nervous when any of my favourite books are being adapted into a TV show or a movie, but actually the To All the Boys I Loved Before movies are actually pretty good, especially the last one, Always and Forever Lara Jean. I was so impressed with that one. I watched it when it came out for Valentine's Day and I loved it. Like, I think it was my favourite out of the three movies. It's not my favourite out of the books, but it's definitely my favourite out of the movies. This is just a really cute trilogy that just makes you smile. It's just like such a summery, lovely, fun read. This follows our main character Lara Jean, and basically she writes love letters to all the boys she's loved before, but she doesn't actually send them out. Then one day the letters do get sent out, so all these boys know that she has loved them, and it basically just starts a bit of drama, and it's just so much fun. It's hilarious, it's adorable, it's cute, it's sweet, it's just so lovely. It's just been a while since I read this series, and after watching the Always and Forever Lara Jean movie on Netflix, god, these titles are so long. After watching the Always and Forever Lara Jean movie adaptation on Netflix, I just want to kind of reread this series. I just think it's adorable. It just puts me in this like cute romance mood. I love it. Maybe over the summer I might get back to this just to kind of get me in that like cute romancy summery mood, so we'll see how it goes, but I definitely would like to get back to this at some stage. The final series I would like to reread is the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. I have the gorgeous special edition collection. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. This lovely little box, and then I'll take the books out and we'll have a look. So they are just gorgeous. I'm hoping they come out well on the camera. They're like really shimmery. Oh, they're absolutely stunning. Like, I love them. So obviously everyone knows what the Hunger Games is about, so I'm not going to describe it. But last year the prequel to this series came out, which is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It's right behind me there. And I haven't actually gotten to that one yet. That is basically a prequel all about President Snow. So even though it's a prequel, I think I would like to reread this series first before getting to the prequel. Maybe it doesn't make sense that way, but that's what I want to do. I honestly could not care less about President Snow, to be honest, but I feel like I do still want to read the prequel. I've heard very mixed things about the prequel. Some people have absolutely loved it and others have absolutely hated it, so I'm very curious to see what I would think. I personally was never like the biggest fan of the Hunger Games books. I think the concept is absolutely brilliant. I think it's genius, but I found the execution wasn't the best. I wasn't crazy about Suzanne Collins' writing, and I hope that doesn't offend anyone. I think she has some clever ideas, but I just don't really connect with her writing. However, I do think her characters are awesome. I love Finnick. I love Haymitch. Haymitch is my favourite character in this series. I think he's amazing, and even in the movies, oh my god, perfect casting choice, absolutely top notch. The movies are actually really good adaptations of this series. I'm not the biggest fan of Jennifer Lawrence, but she does actually do a good job as Katniss Everdeen, and I love Josh Hutcherson. I think it'll be a lot of fun getting back to this series. It's been a while. I remember obviously the Hunger Games very well, and I remember Catching Fire quite well, but I don't remember Mockingjay as much. I definitely remember not really liking it, but it'll be interesting to see what I think the second time, and then I would like to dive into The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and see what I think. So I will hopefully get back to this series very soon. So that is it for the series I would like to reread. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you'd like, please give me a like and subscribe. It would mean the absolute world to me. Also leave me a comment and just say hello, or tell me if you have read any of these series and what you think of them, or if you would also like to do a reread. Maybe we could do a buddy read. Who knows? Could be a bit of fun. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day. Slán live!